how can you add something really special at the end of your music to make it finish with a real strength? That's what we're going to look at today in Dr. Doug's Daily Tips for how to write great LDS church music. To do so, we're going to look at this beautiful primary song from the Primary Children's Songbook, I Want To Be Reverent. There's a special little chord technique here towards the end that makes the ending quite special. In fact, it gives it that kind of lifting of internal spirit, almost as if you're feeling the Spirit come to you, whether you feel the tingle in the back of your neck or the hairs stand up on your arm or the heart flutters, whatever that feeling is that you have. This is a great musical way to depict that feeling and use it toward the end of your piece to make the end have something really special. Let me play this short little song for you. You may not know it. It's not super popular. And then I'll zoom in on this technique. All right. The magic moment, you may have heard it already, happens right here. But to understand what's going on, we need to work backwards. So when you're ending a piece of music or ending a phrase in your music, we usually end on the 1 chord, which we do here, D major. And right before that, we usually get the 5 chord. In this case, it's the 5-7, the A7 chord. And somewhere before the last cadence, we very often get a chord that signals, hey, the end is coming. And it's this chord right here. This chord is not actually just plain old D. It's D with A in the bass. See, we have this A down here, D, F sharp, A. So this is a 1 chord because we're in the key of D major, but it's a 1 in second inversion. The 1 chord in second inversion has the 5th of the chord in the bass. So the chord is D, F sharp, A, but with A in the bass. And when we get that A in the bass, it signals, ooh, the end is coming. Very, very common progression. This one adds another chord in the middle. We get this minor 2 chord over another A, which is actually not part of the chord. That's what we call a pedal tone because we keep the A in the bass this whole way. We'll talk more about pedal tones another day, but I really wanted to isolate the 1-6-4 chord. So the 1 chord in second inversion then goes to the 5 chord, which then goes to the 1, and the phrase is over. Well, right before that 1 chord in second inversion, there are several chords that you can use that make the ending quite special. This one in particular is built on a B flat. Now, in the key of D major, there are no B flats in our key signature. This chord exists outside of D major. And not only is it B flat, but it's a B flat dominant 7. So we have B flat, D, there's an invisible F, and A flat. B flat, D, F natural, A flat. We do get the F natural down here, so it's not totally invisible. But that's the chord, B flat, D, F natural, A flat. Now, what happens is, and I just made an awful mess of that, so let me erase some of this so you can see the internal motion. We are aiming for this 1-6-4 chord. That's the goal, because if we can get to the 1-6-4, then everybody's ear says, oh, it's about to end. 1-6-4, 5-1. Then we know we're over. But right before that 1-6-4, this B flat appears. Now, this B flat is 1 half step above the A. And we're trying to get to that A because it's the 5th scale degree, which signifies 5-1. But the B flat, the half step above the 5, doesn't fit the key, but because it's a half step relationship, it really wants to resolve to the A. So flats go down, sharps go up. And here's a secret. They actually spelled this chord wrong. They did it on purpose because they wanted to make it easier for primary pianists. But when this kind of chord happens, we usually respell that A flat as a G sharp because the G sharp goes up to A natural. So look at that. B flat goes down to A while G sharp goes up to A, and we get octave A's. So B flat, G sharp, B flat goes down to A while G sharp goes up to A. Both in half steps. The B flat half step down to A and the G sharp half step up to A. This is what we call a wedge chord. It wedges itself both directions in half steps. The technical name for this chord is the German augmented sixth chord, but it's used in a major key, so we sometimes call it another name. It doesn't really matter what it's called. I want you to know how to use it. You take whatever key you're in, like we're in D, and you take the sixth note in the scale. So if you think D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, B is the sixth note in the scale. Take the sixth note and flat it. Then you build a dominant seventh chord on that, which is a major triad plus a minor seven. In this case, B flat, D, F, A flat. Then you take that top note, which we respelled as G sharp, and you go up a half step to A, and then you take the B flat and you go down a half step to A, and then when you reach those A's, you play the 1-6-4 chord. That's how you get that swooping sensation. Okay, so listen to the B flat dominant 7. And now the resolution. Ooh. We're used to hearing dominant sevenths resolve like this. 5-1. But this B flat dominant 7 in the key of D doesn't fit. But because it's that half step away from A, we can take it down. The half step, the B flat can go down to A when we change to D major. And now we've hit the 1-6-4 and we can finish our progression to the end. So this is a little more complicated of a daily gem here, but it's a super cool chord to use. Let me just reiterate one time what's going on here. So we're in D major. We take what is normally the minor 6 chord, which was B, D, F sharp, and we make a new kind of 6 chord, but we flat the 6th scale degree, and then we play a dominant 7 chord on that flatted 6, which is B flat, D, F natural, A flat. Then, once you have that dominant 7, you take this B flat down a half step to A, and this A flat up a half step to A natural, and then on those A's, you build a 1 chord in second inversion. Okay? This is a fantastic type of resolution. In fact, it's so good that Mack Wilberg can't stop himself from using it in almost every arrangement that he writes. It's a very powerful resolution that gives a spiritual kind of swooshing kind of feel. So that is your daily gem for today. Maybe a little more complicated than you expected, but it's actually not that hard to use. Just build a dominant 7 on the flat 6 scale degree, and then go to the 1-6-4. And you can end your piece or your phrase with a very special feel and sound. All right, that's all for today. If you liked this video, please hit subscribe and ring the bell so you get notified every time I drop a video. And if you'd like more free tips, head over to latterdaymusiversity.com where you can get a bunch more for free. See you again.